Welcome to the maiden edition of the Ladies in Media Show. This program is to celebrate and unveil the outstanding works of women in media. My name is Margaret Baden. Today, we are privileged to be having a conversation with a veteran artist in the gospel fraternity. She was the former president for the Musician Union of Ghana and currently a board member on Gamero. Let's go for a quick breather. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Ladies in Media Show. Today we are about to speak to a woman who has contributed greatly to the gospel fraternity. She is a mother, my mother, and a mother to many. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Daina Hobson. Mommy, how are you?
I'm fine. You look good.
Thank you so much. You know, anytime I call upon you, you are always there. I don't know.
We thank God.
I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Before you were known as Daina Akiumi, but currently you're known as Daina Hobson. Mommy, what brought about the change of name?
Okay, so usually artists never think of changing their name, especially after making a hit, making a household name. Nobody would want to change because it becomes a brand name. But you know, the world is such that circumstances are not all. And usually when there's a conflict, when there is a division of a group, when there are major changes, sometimes it warrants change of name. In my case, it was because my first name, Daina Akiumi, was a married name. I was a Mrs. Akiumi. And so when that marriage didn't work, you know, and Akiumi was my manager as well.
Oh.
Yes. So, well, to God be the glory for everything and may his soul rest in peace. But there was a mental situation which we didn't really take good care of in good time. So at a point when he had relapses and stuff, there were a lot of confusion and that resulted in our separation and then finally divorce. So after that, for 10 years, I was a single mom.
Wow.
Then I got married again. And so when I got married again, I had to prayerfully think over if I really wanted to change the name. And well, I would say a lot of thoughts came through. But personally, you know, Diana has its meaning.
Okay.
In Ephesus is a goddess of love. So for me, I was saying I was a real daughter of Zion. So I don't mind. But at a point, I now dissected the name. Di is double.
Oh,
Anna.
okay.
So Anna is blessing. So double blessings.
Amazing.
And Hobson, everybody needs hope. And so to be the son of hope for me is something unique. So usually I would mention it Diana Hobson. And I mean double blessing.
So where is the Hobson coming from now?
Hobson, I'm married to Dr. Emmanuel Hobson. And that is why. So it is Mrs. Daina Hobson.
Mrs. Daina Hobson.
Yes.
So that's your current husband?
That's my current husband's name.
Amazing. So that brings us to our question of the day. You can also give us your comment on it. When is it okay for an artist to change his or her name? When is it okay for an artist to change his or her name?
Well, I would not advise a change of name because even up till now, people still love to call me Daina
Akiumi.
And I'm not angry. Like, look, that's me. So, AKA
Daina Akiumi.
But I'm the same person. So, and it is good to keep your name because that is what you are. It's a brand.
Okay.
And so if you are changing a brand, then you need to do more to outdo what people know already. And it's not easy to be able to do that.
That's true. That's a lot of work.
Usually when it's a group and the group splits, then there's that need. But even that, most of them will still keep the name because that is what they are known for. And it's important as an artist when choosing names to have a lot of thoughts because, honestly, so when I got married earlier on, I didn't want to use the marital name because of the issues I had with Akiumi.
Yeah.
After the separation. But well, after a long thought and stuff, I just decided because the Hobson is a good name, being the son of hope, we all need hope. So that gives me hope when I use the name. And so it took time for me to let the name
Sink
into me to accept it. And I took it on.
Okay. So, Mom, we want to go back a little bit. When did you release your first song?
Hey, He is Lord. That was in 1991. He
Wow.
arose from the dead.
He
Is Lord.
Oh,
He is Lord. Every knee.
that's your
shall bow.
song?
That was my debut. That was my title track. That was in 1991. On that same album, I had Hallelujah. 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 Amen. Hallelujah.
Wow.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen. For my praise medley, I had Come on, Bonnie Wayne. Gorgiano Bello.
That's your song?
Well, that was not my composition. It's a public domain that
Okay.
in those days, actually, one thing I did after I record my own tracks, I will always add a public domain song. I mean, songs, not just one, in my medleys. Why? Because in those days, like the early 90s, you wouldn't find any album with such songs.
Okay.
But we sang it in the church, and I realized that if we don't preserve it, then the younger generations may not have access to it. So I intentionally recorded. I was really active in terms of worship and praise. And so some English songs that I liked that were cool worship songs, I just turned them into reggae and stuff.
Okay. Like the Winner, He.
Now, Winner was in 1993.
Okay.
And that one too, I was on mission in Nigeria.
Okay.
In Lagos, an area called Iyana Ipaja. And in that church, they would, we will preach in English and it will be translated to Pidgin before Yoruba. And I realized they had news in Pidgin. And I just admired the Nigerians for that, because hitherto in Ghana, in secondary school, when you speak Pidgin, you'll be punished and stuff like that. So Pidgin was like identical to Bad Boy. All the praise and worship songs were all Pidgin. Wow. Apart from the dialect ones. So when I came back to do my recording, I decided to add a few. The Pidgin in Nigeria and Ghana, there's a slight difference. Nigeria will say, Jesus don't win. Okay. But Ghana will say, Jesus, you go win. Oh, okay, yes. Okay. I get it. Little changes, and I put that medley together, and that was my biggest hit, actually.
Yes,
because
I came to meet Weena in Sunday school. We were all singing Weena, hey.
Weena. What made it more beautiful were some of the other tracks that I added, like "Darling Jesus,"
yes,
my mommy.
Mommy, you're taking my mind back to Sunday school.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then for 93, that was where I made that big hit. I had Onyanko Pong, Wayade Kesi, Amada Sama.
Oh, yes.
Ade Kesi.
I know that song.
And none say, Odi Yesu Adumien, Uamaye Nyankwan, and Yentwe, Unyami Yodomfo. Mr. Wababeduye, Ami Nyami Oyodomfo. Now, Nyami Odomfo, the chorus was a normal song in church. Okay. That would be sung either quietly or the hot praise. But now I picked it. Oh. Made it reggae, made it chorus for my verses, and people just loved it. It
became a hit.
On that same track, I did a worship medley that also took, people love to worship with it. I mean, people would learn track by track, and it was a good time. In those days, I was selling 1,000 cassettes, 10,000 a month.
Amazing.
So that was great. And so indeed, this industry is good if your work gets out, if you get a hit. I mean, there's nothing that can be compared to it.
So, Mommy, how many albums do you have so far?
At the moment, I have 11 albums with a few singles. Yes. But along the line, when I became the president of Musica in 2007, for 10 years, I couldn't get time to record.
How did you become the president of Musica?
Actually, I got involved with music as soon as I recorded my first album. And that was in fact, 1990, 1991. So I became a member in 1991. And as a young professional, I felt the safest place to be is be part of the union so that I can learn more. And honestly, my involvement with the union indeed gave me room to learn more. I never missed any seminar the Copyright Office organized or the union organized. And I learned a lot while being part of the union. So I grew through the ranks. I became the Greater Accra treasurer. Then I became the second vice, then to the first vice. Wow. Before I became the president. Okay. So I worked with when Ochirema Ghana Bar was the president, that was when I joined, and then saw through Joe Mensah's time before Alhaji Sidi Kubwari, and then came on. Yeah. In 2021, you were chosen to represent Ghana in the first Universal Christmas event with other stars. How did that happen? Yes. That is BJ Sam is a Nigerian musician who one way or the other spotted me somewhere. So he gave me the concept that, oh, this is what he wants to do. And it's amazing. I love Christmas because see how we enjoy our birthdays. And so the birthday of Christ, for me, since he's my savior, it's a period that I don't joke with. Anything to make it special, I will do it. So when he gave me the concept, I quickly rushed to the studio to build on it. And amazingly, the work we did, like the recording I did, he picked everything and even laid more on that foundation. I'm so proud that that came from Ghana, and we had people from all over the world being part of that project. I like it. Apart from that, I did a Ghana translation. I did the whole song, the Ghanaian version, and featured BJ Sam. Wow. So in 2007, the former president, J. Kufuor, presented an honors to you. Yeah. How did that make you feel? Was it the first time you're meeting the president? I would say, we are all JJ people because we lived through the coup and we knew only the NDC till we wanted change. So when there was change, everybody was happy. And indeed, yes, my work in the union that linked me to government activities in those days was still so. Yes, I saw him from afar, but being close, I would say that no, that was not the first time. We went to his house, yes. Oh, okay. So I had met him before. And it was amazing because at that time, I had just got married like a month after, and my wedding was quiet. So it was that day when I was being called to pick up my award. This time it was not just Daina Akumi, but Daina Hopes. And the MC was Godin Avenogwa. He announced that, hey, she's now married, And for me, it made me see that, I mean, when your effort is recognized, then you need to do more. At that time, I was pondering, whether I wanted to be the president, and that gave me so much push. Though I knew God wanted me to do it, that encouraged me to take the post and indeed put more weight on what I was doing, because I realized that, hey, the whole nation recognizes my work, and that even gave me energy to do more. So how has the journey been like for you? Very interesting. Has it been easy, smooth for you? Not easy all the time. I mean, the world is a struggle. For you to be alive, that cry, you are a victor. Because before you were born, there had to be competition before you were born. And having survived, it has been on and off and very good. But then prayerfully, we got Christian music coming in for the next album. Then the third album, we got Samtech, supermarkets. An auntie, recommended someone who loved my music too. So that was also funded. And then If Jesus Says Yes came on in 1995. Then we were able to go to the Europe. We had an European tour. I missed, I would say, an abusive marriage. Because he was sick. Like he had this issue, but we didn't know that that was the situation. Mental ailment is real, and it is not everyone living with mental ailment that you would see by the roadside naked or whatever. it's a situation that when one has it, if you see it quick and you seek medical advice and you are taking your medication, you will be okay. You can live long and live normal. But if you don't know and you don't want to believe and say that there's nothing wrong with you when there is indeed something wrong with you, you mess up and you may have relapses that may cause your early death, which is not necessary. At a point when it was going high, I decided that no, it's better to stay alive. The beating was just too much. And it was like, one day I'll kill you and kill myself.
Seriously?
Yeah. And,
So he was just
it was
beating you on just
like
unnecessary things.
yeah, things that didn't call for anger and stuff. And I knew that because there were times that he would be nice, lovely, calm. The next moment he's somebody else. The next moment. So it's difficult to even complain because nobody would see it.
Oh.
You will be the liar. So
Yes, that's true.
but it got to a point that I realized, no, we need to seek help. And that would rather worsen it because people would not believe. But then with time, it became evident. So yes, that was, though it was a big challenge, I believe that also helped me grow. And now I can understand people more. I mean, when I get people who are in abusive relationship, I'm able to well assist them. It's all part of my going to do counseling. And I'm happy with what we do now. We now have the Center for
Amazing.
Peace and Reconciliation, where we do professional counseling and mediation. We do training, we do outreaches and stuff like that. So yes, but I also had good times. I mean, good times on stage, good programs, in Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, even in Europe, after If Jesus Says Yes, I came out with Edesini Ye, then Onyame Asem Se. Onyame Asem Se was recorded in Europe. That came out in 1999. I did Africa, America. I did a lot of others. But it's amazing. You see, there's an era. Everybody has his time. And when you don't hear from the artist, it's not that the artist is not doing well, but it's like a cycle. There's time for everyone. And so, like now we have Dinah Hamilton and Joe Metal, Celestine Donko is coming, there are eras for different artists. And when it's your time, history is being made, but you will not stay there forever. I call them frontliners. That time is over. Another has to come. And being a frontliner, it's very hard. Like your time. I mean, there were times in my life that I stayed a whole month. I stayed in my own house for 5 days. I mean, you are out living in the box, in your bag, and it's interesting, but also challenging. It even affects how you plan your family. Because if you are at the time that you are giving birth, if you mix it with concerts and events, you will stress yourself and stress your family. And so you have to plan and know when to have children, know when to even go to school. There were times that I took a break. I took breaks to educate myself. I mean, add more value to myself. And so you just have to plan all these things and accept life and, accept life's gifts and joys as it comes to you. Because there's nothing permanent. I
mean, what triggered the idea for the Ghana Music Publishing?
Good. So Ghana Music Publishing and Management is the premier Ghanaian publishing company. We all want to see a growth in our industry when it comes to royalty. I remember in the early 90s, let's say late 90s, during the time of Betty Moldidrusu as the corporate administrator, we started receiving royalties from abroad.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But all that changed with time because of, I would say, industry players were not that patient. I remember when the corporate office was like advising that we start taking mechanical royalties, for instance. Mechanical royalties is what you take when your work is duplicated. Before that company would duplicate the work, those are hard copy types. They would have to pay a percentage, and that was done internationally. And that money will go to the owners, like the composer. And unfortunately, we Ghanaians said, oh no, it is for us. You see, abroad, you would have a composer different from the record label. But because most of us were doing everything
by themselves,
it's like, oh, it's for us. So no, we don't want it. And so,
they rejected it.
Mm-hmm. There were a lot of things that we were lacking in terms of the industry. And Musica had the first funding from government to do a research. after the research, it was apparent that the work of publishers was near to zero. And
Wow.
without data, proper data for the industry, you can't go far, because there should be a record of who did what and who earns what, well documented and well represented everywhere, so that when the song is touched anywhere, it goes straight to all those sources. And that aspect was missing. So I decided to venture into the business as well.
Wow.
So GH Music Publishing was registered in 2015, but took over, started, and I started off as a Gumroad agent, encouraging people to register and stuff, till 2018, when the company was listed. So we were invited to Midem. Midem is the biggest world music festival done in
Wow.
France. So there I was open to other international publishers, and now we have sub-publishers all over the world. And at the moment, we represent Share Publishing from South Africa. We represent their repertoire here in Ghana.
So how many people are signed on to
The moment
GH
we
Music?
signed 59 artists.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
primarily, I started as pure administrative. I didn't want any trouble. I was just doing administration. But now the demands of the clients, there was the need to do some kind of distribution for them as well. More so now that it is digital. So we've added distribution as well. But we have a blanket contract that has everything in it. So you opt for what you like.
Okay.
But when you sign it, we have access to do everything you want us to do for you.
Okay. So what has been some of the challenges?
Well, I would say, in this country, it's difficult to get capital for our industry. So I'm very happy the government launched a fund last week, and I'm applying like something, because at the moment I need to go to the regions to help gather their data, and then also do more distribution and some promotion. At the moment, I would not say I've done enough promotion at all, and it all takes money. I want to call any investor who wants to invest in the Ghana music industry to come help GH Music Publishing, so we can reach far. We've done the digital. At the moment, I have a staff of 4, including myself, that we are manning the work, and then more input, more resources.
So, Mommy, when they give you an opportunity to turn back time, what do you think you would change?
What can I change? Is that possible? Honestly, I'm someone who makes sure I make the most of every opportunity. So in school days, I made sure I enjoyed my student days. In my career, I mean, when on set or when in work, I do the most I can. But I would say French, for instance, the way we treated French in school, I wouldn't have. But I believe that
I've taken it serious.
Very serious. I did, but of course our French teacher left us. So for a whole year we didn't have a French teacher. Meanwhile, we didn't. Oh, Monsieur, we call him Santo Paza.
Oh my God.
So that, and then also music. My school was not offering music to O level when I was in secondary school. It was when I went back to sixth form that we started offering it for O level.
Oh, okay.
So I had to later on study music, and that is still a challenge. I pray that the GES will make sure that the curriculum for the creative arts is comprehensive enough so that people can really have that basic knowledge.
Okay. So before we let you go, I want you to tell the young females, this is Ladies in Media Show. This issue, your issue in terms of being in an abusive relationship, it happens to many women.
Be their manager,
females.
be their husband,
it happens to
uncle.
Many. How can we survive this? What should we do?
Okay, so I would say your trust in God is premier, because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So seek God. For me, because I knew I had God on my side, I could stand the fiercest that came, because I had comfort. I have my refuge. I had comfort in the word of God. I had refuge in Christ, that he would deliver me. Now, apart from that, I didn't keep quiet when I realized that it was now beyond what I could handle. If you keep quiet and you go, it will be too late. Meanwhile, it can be stopped. It can be controlled if you speak out. I mean, look for people you can rely on. Of course,
Confiding.
you can't rely on man in quotes because man can fail you. I mean, some of the people you may go for help may
Yeah.
even be the worst. I've
That's
seen that
true.
a lot of people have, but it's good to professionally seek counseling. Now we have a lot of counselors. We have the Ghana Psychological Association, the host of, you can come to Center for Peace and Reconciliation. We would gladly help you. So there are people there professionally ready to assist, and don't keep quiet, seek help, and seek help in time. I know young women who, some right from even age 12, 8, 7, have been abused, and because they have kept it in a corner of their
Yeah.
hearts,
They
then
can't
they
voice
grow
out.
and then it brings its head ugly and has not been so good. So you can be helped.
That's
You can be
true.
helped. I mean, and you are not alone in this. Sometimes you feel you are the only one, and
That's
so then
true.
you
That's
carry the
true.
cross alone. No, and we are available 24/7 to support if you have need. And of course, it is good to keep a journal. Sometimes when you pour out and write everything, how it is going, later you read it and see how you overcome. It strengthens you. Now, some habits that you would have to cultivate consciously, activities you can do sometimes to break the monotony of your just being quiet and being by yourself.
By yourself.
A lot of things you can do, and there's help.
As you heard her, there is always help for you, so you don't have to keep quiet. You need to voice out when you're going through any form of abuse. So, Mommy, thank you so much for honoring our invitation. It's been wonderful having this conversation with you today. We've learned so much. And to you, our lovely viewer, I know you've also learned a lot. If you love what I'm wearing today, I was styled by Ruba Curls. Just go on IG and type Ruba Curls, and she will hook you up with anything you want. Anything. And also, I want to say a big thank you to my production team as well. This is Ladies in Media. And when we say Ladies in Media, we say we are taking over. See you.